What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are the Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and with me, as always, is everyone's favorite, the only man who's putting money on the Spurs to win it all this season.
Plus 50,000. Come on. Come on. When are you going to get that kind of number again?
Look, man, you see the odds and you just start scratching your neck a little bit.
All I see is Greg Popovich is still the coach of this team, and I'm getting plus 50,000. Yes.
So put 50,000 on it.
Yeah. Duh.
What would that even come out to?
I'm not good at math.
I'm not either.
5 times 5 is 25. $250,000.
No, it'd be 2.5 million.
2.5 million. You're right. 2.5 million.
Put 50K on it, dude. You got some extra
got
racks
that.
sitting around, yeah.
I got that.
You can make it happen.
Sure.
I mean, off of the billions we're making off of this show, you could easily take that
the
to the
millions
casino.
tuning in worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone put in $1, and then we'll put it on the Spurs.
Love it.
And then we're gonna own podcasting after that.
And the Spurs.
Yeah, we're gonna buy the Spurs
for $2.5 million
and Apple Podcast division completely.
I think that's how money works.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a really fun show lined up for you today. Before we jump in, just want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube and wherever you're listening to your podcast. Go ahead and like the video, drop us a comment, leave us a rating and review. Help us take down the Goliath. Help us, the David, take down the Goliath that is the algorithms. And most importantly, share the show, because that is how we are going to get the word out about the incredible content that we're putting out and add a few more dollars to that Spurs pot, because
Yep.
I think we're going to make it happen.
Oh, it's gonna be juicy.
Yeah, it's going to be a big win. Big win. We will get our own parade if we make that happen. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email the show, thealternatehoop@gmail.com, and go ahead and follow us on TikTok for fun little clips of the show on
TikTok.
Hello, fellow children.
How do you do?
The Alternates NBA. Clayton, how the hell are you?
I'm great. Off to a good start this morning. I'm wearing my Seattle Mariners cap.
Yeah, big fan.
And it's for good reason. Today, they are one game away from clinching their first playoff spot since 2001.
What were you doing in 2001?
What was I doing in 2001? I was heavily into Blink-182 and skateboarding, and I wasn't good at it. That's mostly what I was doing. I was, a little punk rocker in middle school, I guess. That's what I was doing. Yeah.
This time in 2001, I was just starting freshman year of high school. Very insecure.
Oh yeah.
Very, which came out in my punk rock, uniform.
Yeah.
It was like the slow descent of me being like, I hate everybody around me. But I want to make the world a better place.
And that was the last time the Mariners were in the playoffs. So they are one game away from clinching a playoff spot, at least getting there.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool day.
What are the odds on them winning?
Great question. Not great. They're a young and up and coming team.
Are they Spurs odds?
No.
Okay.
They're nothing like that. They're a solid team. Obviously, they're going to make the playoffs this year. But they're like an Eastern Conference team that can't win the title, but has a solid chance to get to the second round and make a little noise. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fun. I think I'm going to watch the playoffs this year.
Oh, you should. It's going to be really, really good. There's a little change in the playoff format that maybe is a little confusing to newcomers, but
never watched it before, so it won't throw me off.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
All right.
How are you doing, Brian?
I'm good. I'm in excruciating pain just sitting here. We had one of our last big hot days earlier this week, and you would think that I just became a redhead for the first time ever. Not true. I've been this way my entire life, and yet I still allowed myself to fall asleep in the sleep. I fell asleep in the sleep, and I've got a sleep burn. Yeah, it has affected my brain. My entire torso is it's Red Lobster, baby. It is Red Lobster, which is making me a bit crabby. Little crustacean humor for you.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, it seems like you did.
I hope we have some cheddar biscuits to follow that up because
Big Aloe, sponsor the show.
there we go.
We're going to get that sponsorship. All right, well, let's get into it. We've got headliners. When was the last time we had headliners?
Years ago.
2001.
yeah.
The Mariners were getting into the playoffs. That was the last time that we had headliners.
Exactly.
The season basically has started, Clayton.
We're here.
We had media day this week. Preseason kicking off. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's back.
Yeah, we're playing games in Japan. I don't know.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Who's the game in Japan?
Warriors and Wizards. Warriors and Wizards. I don't even know the score of the game. They played last night at 3 a.m.
Interesting.
I didn't set my alarm for it.
Do we get Japan Clay?
Clay is not playing. He's not. I don't even know if he's making the.
He's in
He's
China.
probably making the trip.
He's in China.
He has other places to go. Yeah, he's got dunks to miss in China. Yeah, so he didn't make the trip, but basketball is being played, so that's a pretty cool thing. And Rui Hachimura obviously is
very cool.
the most notable Japanese player, so he's over there, and I think a lot of people here don't realize like he's a really big deal over there.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, of all of that. And he's actually played for Japan like in the Olympics and all
FIBA?
kinds of.
Did he do
in FIBA?
FIBA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So he's a big star over there. So it's a big deal that the Wizards went over there too.
That's cool. I love that. that. Well, tour has started, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every team has set out on tour, started with a nice little media run, and now they're ramping up to their first shows of tour.
That's it.
You and I, respectively, spent many days on tour.
Yep.
You more so than me. That is your job. It has been a hobby of mine for a long time.
Yeah.
So we understand what that can be like. There are different types of tours, different vibes. There's all kinds of stuff that goes into it. So I want to take that lens and look at the beginning of the NBA tour. We're not going through all 30 teams. I just want us to pick a few and kind of talk about how's tour going.
Yeah, exactly. We've had some rehearsals.
Yeah.
You're maybe driving out to the first show.
Maybe some new bandmates.
Like we said, Japan, luckily the Warriors and Wizards, they have 2 international shows. Cool for them.
Yeah.
Everyone else starts their North American tour, but
very cool.
They have cool 2 warm-up shows in Japan. That's awesome.
What a move. We're starting our U.S. tour in Japan.
Pro move. It's a pro move.
I love that. So I want to start here. Formerly known as my Boston Celtics. And for now, they're going to be known as the Boston Celtics.
Okay, yeah.
Man, they just got off of one of the best tours they've had in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Very successful. Everybody was loving it. Ended on a high. Left us wanting more. I couldn't wait for this follow-up tour. I was like, oof, I got to go see the Celtics.
Yep.
That last tour was incredible. I got to get that feeling back.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like that. It's a rough start to this new tour.
Yeah.
Very rough start to this new tour. So Ime Udoka, which we haven't really talked about here, has been suspended for the season.
By the team.
By the team, yeah, by the team. Reports came out that he was having some kind of relationship with at least one staffer that we know of who held, an employed position that was below his. So there were weird power dynamics at play. At first there was this they're consenting adults. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it has since come out that maybe it wasn't as consensual as we all had kind of thought, and the original reporting was on it. Very messy situation. In that, they have named Joe Mazzulla as the interim head coach for the year, who has his own fun little rap sheet of domestic abuse and assault. And so, they say that those were in his younger days, and now how old is he? I
think he's the youngest coach in the NBA now. I think he's only 34 years old.
Yeah, so the elder statesman at 34 has learned his lesson and is ready to be an adult. And he's claiming that that's in the past. They signed Gallinari. I was very excited to see Gallinari on this tour. Torn ACL, out for the tour. No Gallinari.
Nope.
Robert Williams. One of my favorite things about this last tour.
Breakout player for them last season.
Incredible. Knee surgery.
But I thought he couldn't hurt it any worse if he goes out there and plays more in the finals. No.
Science. Yeah. So we don't know when his return is going to be yet. They go and they give a vet minimum deal to Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin on this tour feels like he's going to be like the cameo keytar every now and then when they feel the audience dipping a little bit and they need to bring him back. It's this kind of like, remember him?
Remember you guys all wanted to trade for him like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
It's not great. The tour's gone off very poorly. Like the bus
Brutal start.
Broke down. They plugged in their gear day one and like everything was broken.
Yeah.
You know, it was like they expected to come back and pick up right where they left off.
Manager's gone.
But yeah, it turns out Ime Udoka, their manager, was, you know, let's say stealing money from them if they're abandoned in this situation or leading them astray in some ways. They had to go get someone new, but that guy's got his own problems.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, you know, they're at risk of having a little, well, is it your fault or your fault, and some finger pointing and some blaming going on. So,
and you could feel it in their media day. Nobody wanted to be there and answer any questions.
God, you could feel it. I mean, look, I really feel for all the players and even Brad Stevens in this situation, which is like nobody wants to be up there answering these questions for another man's issues.
I have more sympathy for the players than I do Brad Stevens, because it does seem like maybe there were some complaints filed.
It's quite possible, and I agree with you on that. We shouldn't be too quick to give the Celtics a round of applause here for their work on this. I think the fact that this came to light is the main reason why we saw the suspension.
100%. Yeah.
There's a very interesting article written by Ethan Strauss out there where he talks about some firsthand knowledge of coaches doing this or worse, but it never came out, so it didn't matter. So it's the NBA. It's messy, but it came out and it hit. So anyways, their tour, I still think it can be salvaged though.
Oh, they can get it back on track.
I think they can get it back on track. They have they're a good band.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
They're good. They can fix these issues. It definitely hurts their ceiling though, right? Like
absolutely.
It's a big effect on them. And with where they're at in their timeline, it's an unfortunate place, because I think at some point soon it could come to an impetus with maybe Jaylen Brown or Tatum don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe if this season goes badly, you could be heading that direction. Or it could be we're signed up for the long term, everything's fine.
Right.
No big deal. It feels like this should have been a season that didn't have any drama, and now it feels like there's a little bit of a fork in the road.
Totally. And they got to figure out which city they're going to.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Who do you have on whose tour are you checking up on?
We got to continue with the negative here, unfortunately, just because it's such a big story. The Phoenix Suns, again, had a really good tour last year. Their tour was the most successful tour they've probably ever had. In terms of that regular season tour, was the best one, maybe the most wins I think they've ever had in franchise history, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, the end of the tour got weird. Yeah. Right? It got real weird.
Yeah.
So just to summarize their offseason here, Deandre Eaton does get a max offer from the Pacers that the Suns begrudgingly matched.
Yeah.
So they keep him. He doesn't seem too stoked about it. His press conference was strange at best.
Yeah.
Didn't seem too thrilled to be there. And on that same note, Jay Crowder just is suddenly reported to, he's not showing up to training camp, and he's demanded a trade, and the team is happy to trade him, and he's also released a hype video for his own trade.
This whole thing is the strangest part about all of it. Who releases a please trade for me hype video? I've never seen
with
that
like
before.
off-season work, Brian Windhorst talking about.
It's so bizarre.
It's unreal.
And then on the actual like Suns side, it's bizarre because, well, first of all, let me stick with Jay Crowder. You're on a contender. Where else do you want to, like, it's not an issue of this team's not good enough, I want to go win a ring. Like, no. You have a good chance where you are right now to do that. So it seems like maybe he was told he wasn't going to be part of the starting five, and he was upset about that. I don't know how many contenders there are in the NBA right now that are looking to fill a starting position. So I'm not sure what the destination is. And then who does anybody have that the Suns
Want to get back.
want in return?
Right.
They have such a deep, talented team that I can't picture who they might target in such a trade. It's just the whole situation is weird.
Yep. And on top of that, to make the decisions even weirder, their owner was suspended by the NBA for an entire season, and he's at least likely to sell the team at some time soon.
Yeah, well, he basically said he's going to sell the team.
He said, I'm looking to begin the process of selling the team. So yes, the team will be sold eventually. We don't know how long that's going to take.
Yeah.
That adds another wrench to this whole tour.
Right.
Right? Like they're a band without a label. They're like, they signed to some cool indie that just like got bought by Sony, and they're like, oh wait, so we're on Sony now? And they're like, we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
We'll let you know which label you end up on.
I do love, like, I just picture, because the suspension came out, people were very upset, said it wasn't enough. There was a lot of comparisons to the Sterling Clippers situation from 2014. Felt that Adam Silver just went way too lax on it, probably in favor of the rest of the Board of Governors, which, got to point out, that announcement came out right after a Board of Governors meeting.
Right, yeah.
So I'm sure there was a ton of pressure there. When he basically announced after the fact and after all of the public outcry, like, yeah, I'm probably going to sell the team. Do you think that Silver just let out like the biggest fart ever? Was just like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Like, just everything relaxed, because he was like, okay, now I can kind of, this will go under the rug a little bit for me.
I think so, because he botched it.
Yeah.
I think from a PR perspective, he botched it. Like whether you want to say the actual punishment that came down was too harsh or not, regardless, this was Adam Silver's first foray into, oh, that didn't work. Oh my God. Like, I went out there with a plan and that didn't go the way I expected it at all.
Yeah.
So
he was like, 1 year, people were like, that's not enough. And he was like, so this mid-season tournament idea that I have is
like, we're not talking about any of that. This is one specific thing. So yeah, really weird start to the tour for them. I don't expect it's gone so weird that I kind of don't expect their season to go great. Like, it's really started to leach into that for me. Like, I
much like the Celtics, you could feel it in their media day.
There's the most.
Yeah.
There's the most by far, where nobody wanted to answer anything. Deandre Eaton was just, he was a riot. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
He really was. Like, the pauses in between the stuff he would say and the audible sighs were just chef's kiss. They were phenomenal. Can this tour go well though? I mean, theoretically, they're a good band.
Yeah.
They should win a lot of games, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm still kind of high on their roster. I don't know. I like Cam Johnson starting.
Yeah,
you
I
just
don't
told
hate
me
it.
that I think he's better than Jay Crowder. So I don't think it doesn't make sense
I
from that
don't
standpoint, but
hate it.
it's just a vibe thing. It really is.
And Chris Paul doesn't tend to age well with teams in terms of like locker room.
It's true. Those first 2 years of Chris Paul are always the best.
Oh, the best. Yeah. It's the most hopeful you'll ever feel as a team that has acquired Chris Paul is the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. So that's where I'm at with the Phoenix Suns. Who do you have next?
I got a fun one.
Okay.
I got a band that did a little tour last year and got a lot of attention. It was the performances. I think the expectations of the performances were pretty low, but they ended up doing pretty well on stage every night.
Right.
Not the greatest, but they also hit the road without their front man. And they got the front man back for this next tour. And it's the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yes.
I am very excited to watch the Pels this year. CJ McCollum just got his extension.
Yep.
So it's clear that they want him as part of a long-term kind of vision that they have for this. And then, dude, have you seen Zion?
Oh. The early reports and the photos of him so far looks like he's in great shape.
Dude, they put a basketball jersey on Bo Jackson and rolled him out there. That's what it is.
No, I know. He's
huge. He's but not like in the huge that like he's been made fun of, since he entered the league.
Right.
Like, he is cut, dude. He looks ripped.
Yeah. And to hear him say stuff like, I was doing things in practice I didn't know I could do.
Oh, terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's terrifying for the rest of the league, 100%. And yeah, they're like, they remind me of like a band who did it the right way, who like, they went out and they played DIY shows at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And there was nobody there. Let's be honest. Like they went to these shows and it was a tough
But it didn't
scene.
matter to them.
It didn't matter to them because they were just honing their craft and getting better.
Totally.
And they got lucky and they got an awesome support slot without, like you said, their best player.
Yeah.
And they took full advantage of it every night.
Yeah.
Right. And once they got a little momentum, they brought in CJ McCollum, who you just can't say enough from like, forget the basketball part. That guy as a leader of your team, it's so obvious to me now. I wish I had thought of the idea of a team like this trading for CJ McCollum before.
Yeah.
Like, just from that perspective of like, if you would want your young players to model themselves as a person and as a basketball player, CJ McCollum is like in the top 5, I think.
Yeah, I kind of scoffed at that trade when it first happened. Was like, what do the Pels want with this? That feels weird. But the longer he's been there, the more you're right. It makes sense. You're just like, oh, yeah, that was a beautiful. That was a beautiful vision by the front office. To bring him in.
And I think he's that perfect bridge between Willie Green as such a young head coach.
Yeah.
And as we talked about in our coaching thing a couple episodes ago, you know, he's at that really critical point for a coach where he's just like lost in X's and O's and getting his head around what being a head coach is and getting his staff right and all of that stuff. And that's hard to do. And CJ seems to be this middle ground between Willie Green and the team. And he can kind of play both sides a little bit. He's the adult in the room, but at the same time, he's still a really productive, extremely good player.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a really exciting tour for the Pelicans. This is like they're going off on their young headlining tour.
Yeah.
And I expect fun from them. You know, I don't think they're going to quite live up to that expectation every single night. It's going to be a learning process for them. But if you're a Pelicans fan, you got to be really excited.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
excited.
Who else are you looking at on tour right now?
One that I'm always looking out for, and this is like a band or an artist that they've put out a ton of material, a ton, and some of it is just absolutely genius.
Yeah,
and some of it you're just like, I think you lost the track for a couple of years there, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Ooh, okay.
Consistently the most entertaining product in the NBA. They went out and made some big moves when you really think about it. You know, I thought of their summer as, they made some moves, but then when I really looked at the roster, I was like, wow, they really made a lot of moves. Obviously, the first thing they do is they go out, they hire a brand new head coach in Darvin Ham, who is saying all the right things.
Yeah.
Very respected. And again, seems to be that right age and place where he is going to be able to connect with LeBron and the younger players. Seems like that's the hope. And the early returns on media day have me feeling like I actually like this guy's presence.
Okay.
You know, I like what they've gotten from him so far. They trade for Patrick Beverley. They get rid of THT on the way.
Yeah.
Send him over to Utah. They sign Dennis Schroeder again. They
Reunion tour.
Yeah, reunion tour, exactly. Juan Toscano Anderson, Lonnie Walker, Damian Jones, and Thomas Bryant. So their depth is just brand new.
Dennis Schroeder, sorry, I'm just thinking about Dennis
please.
Schroeder right now. He is like he's the band of Judas Priest, that it's almost like the opposite of like the Judas Priest story, where instead of them kicking out Rob Halford, the band was like, we're leaving, dude. We're way too big for this. We can do so much better. And then like came back with the tail between the legs and was like, another album?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the only other real thing that they have going to start here, it's an early story, is Kendrick Nunn is expected to return and be in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Which he didn't play a second.
Which would be big for them because they need the shooting. Because that's my biggest issue with this tour is they've got a lot of solid. The rhythm section is solid. A lot of rhythm. They've got like 6 rhythm guitar players.
I'm with you, and that's like Thomas Bryant,
Yeah.
Damian Jones.
Totally.
That's respectable.
But nobody's stepping out and playing a solo.
100%.
It's a lot of rhythm, not a lot of melody.
Yeah,
and that's my issue with this tour.
And we're expecting Anthony Davis to go out there and shred like we've only seen him do once in a while.
Yeah. Anthony Davis is like slowly becoming Keith Richards if somehow he didn't defy medical science and drugs actually had an effect on him.
Yeah. No, so, I think it's going to be an interesting tour regardless. Obviously, we have Russell Westbrook. They could trade him. They could do all this crazy stuff. They could acquire, players from the Pacers seems to be what everyone's talking about. But then it's like, but also with Damian Jones and Thomas Bryant. I don't know. I don't get what they're doing. But again, they're like Kanye or something to me where
totally
I got to check out every album.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if on paper I don't like it. I at least got to check out what it's about. I'm excited to watch them play.
Because they might strike gold.
They might.
Yeah.
They might. Like, I'm not convinced of it. I'm with you. The shooting is really light on this team, especially at the higher end. Because it's like, no, they have shooters. It's like, yeah, like the 20-year-olds. Like, they're not real shooters.
Yeah.
You're not going to count on them for it. Pat Beverly, honestly, could be one of their best 3-point shooters this year.
Is one of their best 3-point shooters right now if you look at the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he had a down season last year. He's actually gone down the last couple seasons shooting the 3. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he's better than Juan Toscano Anderson or Dennis Schroeder or Lonnie Walker.
Yeah,
that's for
exactly.
Sure.
All right, let's do a couple quick fun ones on here because I mean, we could easily sit here and talk about the tour for every single team, but I think we hit the big acts that are the most, not the most intriguing acts.
Right.
But there's some that I think are still fun for some reason. Dude, the Cleveland Cavaliers, very excited for this tour.
Yes.
They had a very promising tour last season.
Yep.
And they've added some nice little pieces. Donovan Mitchell.
That's quite a little piece for sure.
Yeah. They moved out Markkanen. Ricky Rubio is back.
Yeah. Sexton got moved in that deal as well.
Yeah, Sexton is, well, he wasn't on the last tour anyways.
True.
We're not really missing him. I don't know. Like it's this kind of like, let's say I'm going with the weirdest examples today. Audio Slave.
Oh.
Rage Against the Machine broke up, and then Chris Parnell teams up with Cornell.
Chris Parnell with Audio Slave would be the best.
That would be so funny. It would be. He's just doing bits while they're
it's just all puns.
Chris Cornell joins, and it's kind of like super groups are never good. Like I don't know. But it worked, and they wrote some great songs.
Yeah.
I think that could be the Cleveland Cavaliers tour.
I'm with you. I think that's like, I actually like that comparison because did Audio Slave
It's not going to end the same, hopefully.
reach the heights of Rage Against the Machine? No.
No, not culturally.
No. But it is a solid, stands on its own.
Yeah, and this would be like if Rage broke up before like Evil Empire, right?
Sure.
And then started Audio Slave.
Yeah.
It would be more like that. The body of work wasn't as big.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm excited to see them. Are there any teams that you're kind of, that's interesting?
Oh, I mean, this one is right down your alley. We got to talk about them. Atlanta Hawks made a gigantic trade for Dejante Murray. That it's funny. I was like, oh God, that trade was so big, so many picks. Like, let me go look at the whole trade for a second. And I was like, oh no, it really was just for picks.
Yeah.
Like they traded Gallinari in it. He was cut immediately. Right. Literally, they just traded him for as many picks as they could siphon out of the Hawks. They also traded Kevin Huerter out the door, which an interesting move. They got Justin Holiday with that. They also signed Aaron Holiday when I was looking at their roster. So they have 2 Holiday brothers.
Trying to get Drew in the mix.
God, could you imagine? It would be awesome.
So many guards on that team.
2 years ago, they were the splashiest band that just came out of nowhere. They were like the Strokes. Overnight success.
Yeah.
That just like, boom, rocket to the top. Like, wow, can't wait for it. The follow-up album, I think they went to a really big studio. They got a big producer. Rick Rubin came.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the same.
Fed them all psychedelics.
It just wasn't the same. It just wasn't as good.
Yeah.
The rawness was gone. All of it was gone. What made them good. They've obviously made some big trades here. They still have the guts of that team that made a good album.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a really good tour for them.
Because they went and got a guy who's like kind of underground.
Definitely.
You know, like what it isn't like a huge name, but they saw, star potential here.
And he's got that. What I love about Dejante Murray, now that he's off the Spurs, people are going to see this. He has such a fuck you attitude.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like everybody on the court is his enemy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Hawks were missing that edge at times.
He's the Johnny Rotten. They got their Johnny Rotten.
Exactly. Like he is going to bring that mentality at least every day, which like from a talent standpoint, we knew like even when they didn't play defense, if they just tried, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get them to buy in defensively. And we know Dejante, like the first thing he was ever known for was defense. The guy's a steals god. He's going to get them out in transition.
He's strong as hell. He's
strong as hell. And if Trey allows him to, he's going to make Trey a better player.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. I actually am excited about the potential of Trey off ball a little bit more.
I'm so excited for it, man, because we haven't seen it, and his shooting, like, I think in this era, it's become underrated because we have Damian Lillard and we have Stephen Curry. He is right a tiny step below them in shooting. Like, and he's just never been given the opportunity that those guys have had to play off the ball.
Right.
You know, like,
and Steph off ball is a menace.
And that's how he scores half of his points. Right. And even Damian Lillard, yes, he takes a lot of off the dribble threes, but he always had CJ there. He's always had a guy that he could play off.
There's been a valve for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Trey, going back to his college days, he's never had that valve.
Right.
So it's gonna be a learning curve, but if he buys into it, it could be scary. It really could.
I think the first stretch of tour is gonna maybe be a little bit questionable, but I think that they're gonna hit a groove that's gonna the rest of their tour is gonna be so much fun to watch.
Exactly. Like they're still rehearsing.
Yeah.
And the early rehearsals haven't told us anything. Like media day for them was very businesslike.
Right.
And I like that, actually. I like that there was no drama, no over talking anything. It was just like, we're going to be good. We plan to be good.
Yeah.
It's a good mentality to have going into the season.
Expect us to shop our drummer again this year.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. I've got two kind of fun ones to close us out here.
Okay.
One, this band's been on tour for so long, and they've had so many successful tours. It's been a little while since they've had some success on the road.
A legacy act, if you will.
A legacy act, yeah. But there's this, it's not very good. We know the tour's not going to be very good, but there's a level of self-awareness about how not good. I almost said ungood, which I don't think is a word.
Yeah.
How not good this upcoming tour is going to be. That kind of makes you want to watch them a little bit more. It's the Spurs.
Yes.
So Pop had so many great quotes from his media day.
He was on fire, dude.
Yeah.
He was on fire.
You know, what brings you back? The paycheck. And then my favorite was the leaning in and being like, some people are going to say this is crazy, but I wouldn't put money on us in Vegas to win the title.
You're wrong about that, Pop.
Yeah. But like, I love like, it's like Eve 6 to me. Eve 6 was like a one-hit wonder in the 90s. The singer has this incredible online presence.
Right, yeah.
And what makes it so incredible is this like awareness that he has of, you know, what Eve 6 was and is.
Right.
And is not afraid to laugh at it, is not afraid to kind of, it's just so, there's something so endearing about the awareness.
Right.
That it makes me look back at Eve 6 more fondly. And if they were to like play today, I'd be like, yeah, I might go to the Troubadour and watch that. Like,
sure.
This guy's hilarious. Like, I would kind of love to see that, you know? I feel like that's the Spurs' upcoming tour.
Right. And I'll add to that. I think Pop is Eve 6, right?
Yes.
So Pop is the guy who's, he's done it all. He's seen it all. He's
Grizzled.
been to the mountaintop, but somehow through it all, like kept his head about him. You know, he's like a Steve Albini type. Like it's just like the fame never got to him. None of it ever got to him. He's just totally aware of who he is and where he's at. But he's bringing this band with him, and they're all 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
One's from Italy. One's playing for Poland. They're all over the place. And he's bringing these kids with him. And he knows that they're not good, but he sees a lot of potential in them. And he's just like, trust me, guys, the demo's not going to be good. Yeah. I'll just tell you now. We're going to record a demo this year, and it's not going to be good. But keep that demo, because in a few years, you're going to be saying, I can't believe I saw the demo, and I still have the demo.
And he's telling, because it's his backing band, he's telling them, look, you guys have to perform your asses off every night. Because I'll be honest, my hands are going to be in my pockets with a cigarette in my mouth at the mic every single night. It's not going to be entertaining, so you guys need to kind of step it up. And I think it's going to make for kind of a fun little tour for them. One more for me.
Okay.
This band's going on tour. They're an opener. They're an opening act. They get 20 minutes, but they think they're headlining. They are so confident in how good they are.
Okay.
That they're like, can you believe these fucking idiots that took us on tour? They're going to have to follow this every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's the New York Knicks.
Yes.
RJ Barrett saying that they're going to shock the world. I'm not even like making fun of him for it, because I love that he has that mentality. I want to see young players have that mentality.
Yeah.
But it's like so fun. It's like shock the world. Well, first of all, it's a low bar for the Knicks.
Yeah.
You win 48 games, you will shock the world.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
But I just love that it's this like, we know what the Knicks are right now. They're nowhere near the mountaintop.
Yeah.
But if you talk to them, they're ascending the summit right now.
Yeah.
Like they are like, yeah, we're co-headlining. It's like what they're telling people before they head out on this tour.
Yep.
And I kind of love that. I kind of love that about them.
I really like that about them. I'm looking forward to this Knicks season. Like, I've been on the show. I've been one of the number one Jalen Brunson fanboys.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands a ton and see him just be the starting point guard for, look, you're right. They're not going to win the championship. They're not going to shock the world. Can they be a respectable team? I absolutely think so. I really do. I really do. And I like their young players, honestly. I don't think they have that one guy yet.
There's no cornerstone.
I don't think so. I do like RJ Barrett. I do like Obi Toppin. I really like Grimes. I really like Quickly a lot.
Great complimentary pieces.
Love all those complimentary pieces. It's just like the fit with Randall and everything that's there with Rose and everything. It just doesn't fully make sense yet. I wish they would just sort of lean into that direction.
Yeah.
I know that's what their fans want, but it's going to be a fun tour. I think it's going to be, again, like, it's a little predictable.
It is.
We know what's going to happen. They're going to have moments when people are going to get really excited about them, and then they're going to let us down.
Yeah.
But maybe their floor is a couple stories higher than it's been the last few years.
Sure. I mean, at the very least, I'm checking out this tour for the hubris.
Yeah. And I got one team to mention, and we don't even need to dive into it because there's nothing to say about them. And this is a band that we've seen the members, they've broken up, and they've started a new band. Nobody's heard it yet. Nobody's heard a note that they've played, but everybody wants to see it. And that's the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, okay.
We have no idea how it's going to go.
Yeah.
But everybody's curious.
Sure.
Like,
that's a good
it's
call.
like, wait, John Frusciante's playing guitar and Solange is the singer. You know, it's like that's they are just this crazy, like, we have two bands that exploded.
Yeah.
We put them together. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. All right. Well, that is going to be the episode for today. We're going to check in throughout this upcoming tour and see how tour is going for some of these bands that have hit the road in the NBA.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to subscribe to the show. Remember to comment, like, all of that good stuff. We're going to leave you with a song by, I'm going back a couple decades here, and by the name of Rain. One of the best screamo bands to ever do it. The song, I think it's very fitting for today's episode. The song is called So We'll Be Winners, and in parentheses, sure? Perfect. It was the perfect title to cap us off with.
Absolutely.
This is off their 2002 self-titled LP on Life of Hate Records. We will be back next week with an all-new episode. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.